now, and if anybody wants to share screens, you're welcome to. You don't have to, but you're welcome to. It is recording. So, right, it's the last session of the first program. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to cover what I was going to cover, but equally, as I was just saying to Jordan and Michael, that those of you that wish to go forward into the second program with my compliments, then I'd be delighted, and that's because of a couple of the last three of the recordings weren't perfectly done as promised on the night and accessible to everybody. And my view is that if you ever can't deliver in business exactly as promised, or you can't over deliver, then you don't just make it right, you actually go one step further. And I thought, well, what I could do to make it one step further is to say, right, let's go again. And what I will do is I will make sure that also, whilst there's been a lot of power in all the sessions, I actually can improve the content. So over the course of the next week, I'm going to be improving the content to make so that it's not identical, and there'll be repetition of the best stuff and some new material to reinforce the best stuff. So it's going to get better. And what I'll be doing later or tomorrow morning is inviting the new members to the group, and there won't be more than 25. We'll be staying at 25. So let's kick off. Let's crack on. The first thing I want to do is really kind of get you guys to type in on the chat as I go through and recap the program what has actually made a difference to you. And for now, I'm going to ask you just to mute. If you could all press the little green one, guys, just to mute. And you can, that's cool, thank you. And you can raise hands. So there is a little raise your hand button. Or you can just type in there, Paul, can I speak? And then come on and open up your mic. And, you're welcome to. So let's just recap. And as I'm recapping the course so far, pure just from memory rather than slides, I think it's better and more authentic. If you could just type in the things that actually have made a difference to you, and not just platitudes, things that have actually made a difference. So have made a tangible difference to your results, or have made a difference to how you feel about selling. If we could all kill all those who've just come in now, if you could just put the mics on mute, that'd be cool, please. Thanks. So whoever's just come in, can you mute your mic, please? Hello, could you mute your mic, please? Right, I've muted everybody. Can you hear me still? Yeah, cool. I think I've just found a way to mute everybody. I'm in control. Okay, all right. So let's just take a little trip down memory lane. And actually, let's just put the group chat on, because Kevin's just alerted me that you can't all see the chat. So let's take off that one and put attendees can chat with everybody. So can you now see everybody's chat? Okay. Michael can't see everybody's chat. Attendees can chat with everybody. That's interesting. Sorry about this, guys, but as you can see from the screen, I'm up in the right-hand corner. Attendees can chat with anyone, so I've ticked that. So you now should be a organizer, presenter, or Paul only as an option. Attendees can share webcams, so we'll put that up. Attendees can view session timer. Well, that doesn't really matter. View attendee list. Yeah, you can view the attendee list. Attendees can chat with organizers only. We don't want that. Attendees can chat with anyone. So hopefully now, that's everybody. Yes, got it. Everybody can chat. So let's just take a little run down memory lane, and I'd like you just to think about, and this is a reflective exercise tonight rather than teaching, and also to set some goals, and for you to tell me afterwards as well, after we do this kind of reflection, on what we want more of and what you think as well that the new people coming into the group will benefit most from. So it's kind of like you feeding back to me what's been the most useful, and then I'll focus more on that most useful stuff. So as I could think back to session 1, where we looked at the inner game, you know, the whole point of that was really around moving away from fear and dissolving fear through thinking about and coming from a place where we're not totally invested in somebody else's actions. We're only invested in playing our biggest game and not invested in a given outcome to drive our self-esteem. So that transaction gives us the freedom to play absolutely huge, to play our biggest game, and allow the outcome to dictate itself. The bigger the game, so the more invested in the outcome we are, the more purely goal-driven for self we are, the more nervous we become, the closer we get to the close, because rejection means we don't get what we want. And the switch to purpose is it's all about playing the biggest game and inspiring the client with our most playful, most authentic game from serving them, coming from purpose. And also the old adage of, you know, what are people most interested in? Our clients, what are they most interested in? They're interested in them and their future. Yet what most of us talk about is ourselves and our past. So most salespeople talk about themselves and their past, or their company and its past, rather than what the client's most interested in, which is themselves and their future. So when we totally invest in the client and their future and how our product serves that, and we play huge towards those needs, we then inspire and persuade. So that's really what I recall the inner game being all about, is switching that mindset. And then we talked about, we went into, on week 2, we went into the outer game. So that's before we even reach the customer. It's this inner world, and it's the outer, so how we show up, and self-esteem. And I remember covering one of the things that really affects our self-esteem, in that there's a truth that sales rise in direct proportion to self-esteem. And the reverse is also true. So the lower our self-esteem, the lower our sales, because we can't turn up with great energy, authentic energy, if we're feeling internally low about who we are and what we've got to say. So how do we do that? How do we improve our self-esteem? Well, one of the first things I covered was that little voice that tells you, I've got to stop doing that. I've got to start doing that. I've got to do less of this. I've got to do more of this. And we came up with the stops and starts. the things that we must stop doing, the things that we must start doing. So it's kind of like our daily routine to manage ourselves and our energy better rather than trying to manage the world and time better. So when we try and manage the world and time, we fail. We can't manage the world and we can't manage time, but we can manage ourselves and we can manage our energy. And those were the two sort of starting points from self-esteem. What are the things that hurt our self-esteem around self-management, like a routine for getting up in the morning and how we set ourselves up for the day, a routine for exercise, our routine for taking stuff in and reading the right things and listening to the right stuff, and what toxic stuff are we taking in each day, mind toxins, and what healthy stuff are we taking in each day, and what are we expressing each day, what are we engaging in, what habits are we engaging in that we want to stop because they don't leave us with good self-esteem. What are all the things that we say, oh, I've got to stop that, be it procrastination, be it consistently being late, consistently not getting up when we say, making ourselves promises, I'm going to do this and then not doing it. And we might get away with it in the eyes of the world, but we don't in the eyes of the only person that counts. So it's all the things I want to stop doing to help my self-esteem, so that when I turn up to sell, I feel good about who I am, and that energy transfers. We also then talked about, so stops and starts were a big one. And we also then talked about management of energy. So we show, when we're showing up with clients, making sure that we don't turn up knackered, and we're not making appointments to see people when we're on low energy, because low energy doesn't sell. And managing ourselves and our energy rather than trying to manage time and the world. So if we've got evening networking, we've got clients to see throughout the whole day, including evenings, how we manage all of that, keep our energy at the right levels, follow the right habits that reward us with the right self-esteem. We then talked about goals and how over-investment in, this is another one in self-esteem, over-investment in goals actually can damage self-esteem. I keep coming back to self-esteem because self-esteem at a high level is what sells. Self-esteem at a low level creates failure. People will not buy from somebody who's got low self-esteem. But we will buy from somebody who's got high self-esteem. The sales pitch and the content of the presentation is secondary to the energy somebody with high self-esteem is giving off, and that's the truth. Yet most of the sales training in the world focuses on content rather than energy. So we need to start with this before we move into content, and these were the things I was wanting to really get across in the first two sessions. We talked about goals, again, coming back to goals. Over-investment in goals, where goals are everything. And set great big goals and huge goals and goals that stretch you, and massive goals, actually can hurt self-esteem because we don't achieve them. So if we don't achieve goals, how does that help our self-esteem? It doesn't. So it's kind of like, let's be pragmatic around the goals and let's start with the end in mind. So rather than starting from today and saying, right, in 7 days I want this, and 14 days I want this, and 21 days I want this, and making them just huge goals, like just fantasy, it's not helpful. Because we set ourselves up for failure. So we replace that by start with 90 days. Then track back, okay, well, if I want to be here, and make the goals real. So make the goals results, they are real, R-E-A-L. Results is one. Experience. So what do we want to experience along the way as 2? Aliveness. How do we want to feel every day and through the journey and at the end of the journey? The whole point of this is to be alive. The whole point of selling and turning our gifts into money is to experience. The whole point of results-based goals is to experience life at the level we want, to be alive at the level we want. And finally, the L being living. What standard of living? What about our life do we want to change? So REAL goals. Results is number 1, but most people stop there. I want to get great results. I want to achieve this amount of income. Okay, well, that's fine. Most people leave it there. What does that mean? For experience, what are we going to experience along the way and when we've achieved it? How will we reward ourselves along the way and when we've achieved it? Aliveness. How do we want to feel on our journey and at the end of it? Day to day, how do we want to feel? And how do our goals help us with that? Goals need to be somewhere between realistic and a little bit tough. So what we'd settle for, what would be okay, and a little bit of a stretch. Not so huge that we can't see them. So results that create experience, aliveness, and living and learning. And start with 90 days and then work back. So where do I need to be at 60 days in order for the 90 days to be a reality? And then work back, where do I need to be at 30 days in order for the 60 days to be a reality? And then work back, where do I need to be in 7 days, in 14 days, in 21 days? And that then dawns on us that we need to start taking action today towards those goals. So we looked at that very pragmatically, and we looked at one more model, which was do, diarize, delegate, and dump, which is all the incoming stuff we have each day that kind of demands our attention and suggests that it's more urgent than anything else. Because we start each day with a whole lot of things we want to do in terms of acting, our appointments, the people we'd like to speak to, the personal things we wish to attend to. And a whole load of incoming comes in. Emails, texts, social media, people. And if we're not careful, we can just get blown right off from what we want to achieve, and we can end up being managed by the world, rather than managing ourselves and our energy to achieve the task we've set out, which is towards our 90-day goals. So how do we manage all that incoming? Well, we put it into do right now. It has to be done, and it has to be done now, and it has to be done by me. Delegate. Diarize was the second one, which is it has to be done by me, but not now. So we make a point to do it later. And I practice this religiously, and it works. Delegate is the third one. It doesn't need to be done by me, but it does need to be done. So somebody else does it. And we talked then about outsource your weaknesses. So what you're weak at, outsource it. And then we looked at dump or ditch, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't need to be done by me. It doesn't need to be done later or now. It doesn't need to be done at all. So I'm not going to delegate it. It isn't urgent. It isn't important. And it's kind of pretending to be. Don't do it. If it doesn't serve the business, don't do it. Because if we're not on our own agenda, we end up on somebody else's agenda. And a lot of the things that we can end up doing do not serve our business. There's somebody else trying to get us on their agenda. Outsourcing something to us which benefits them but doesn't have a benefit to us. So that do, diarize, delegate, dump model was a very practical way around our outer game. Then we actually moved on to the third key, which was USP, and that's where we were able to get really into the material, which was very rewarding for me because we had the second separate session on the Saturday, where I remember Kev and Michael thought I'd pulled or something, and it was actually Bill Blake that I was with. I remember that session. We had a separate Skype session on USP that a number of you were in, and we kind of took USP from unique selling proposition and we turned it into uniqueness. So what? Thanks to Kev with the so what factor. So how am I unique? What do I bring to the party for my clients that makes me unique to serve them better than anybody else? What will I do that outserves? Secondly, so what? What does that mean to them in terms of them and their future and solving their problems once and for all and getting them towards their goals and away from pain? And finally, the P was promises. What promises can we make about our product and us that we will then deliver? And if we don't get it right or something goes wrong, we'll put it right and over-deliver. So uniqueness, so what, and promises. And we did a lot of work on that. We then moved on to Ask Mastery, which is the whole principle of why we ask questions to start the sales process. As I said earlier, most salespeople, either when they're not trained or when they're poorly trained, will start off a sales call by telling the client all about them and their past. Oh, my name's Paul, and I did this and I did that and I did the other, and that's why I'm so great for you. Or that, a classic company presentation. Yes, this is our company and we've been around since 1922. So they kind of lead by talking about them and the past of their company, and they lead with the USP, which is we're a really old company. Is that the best thing they can say? We're old. So they start with a presentation rather than, and it's about them and their past, rather than starting with questions about the client and their future. And that's the beauty, the first thing to understand about Ask Mastery, starting a presentation with questions about the client and the client's desired future, because that's all they're interested in. Never forget that. All the client is interested in first is what's in it for me and my future. So do not start by talking about you and your past. We start out by asking questions. What problems do you have right now that you'd like to click your fingers and solve? Where are you right now relative to where you really want to be? Where's the gap? What's stopping you getting there? Why aren't you where you want to be? Depending on what our product is, we know what human needs. We touched on that. We more than touched on it. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we looked at how the human needs are the same business to business as they are business to consumer, because whether it's B2B or B2C, it's all P2P, which is person to person. So we looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how to identify where people are lacking. So what are the problems you're experiencing that you want to solve? What are the goals that you have that you want to move towards? How quickly do you want to get there? What's it worth to you when you get there? What are the consequences of not acting versus the consequences and payoffs of acting? And all these questions that help you uncover need, raise desire, uncover motives, raise desire, uncover wants, raise desire, and then give you the right at the end of Ask Mastery to ask the question, which is about your value proposition, which is, if we can solve all your problems and get you nail what you want to achieve, and the cost of doing that is less than the value you're going to get, when would you want to start? You want to be successful at sales, you ask that question at the end of your asking, the end of the Ask Mastery part. We then moved on to story selling and the fact that we're hardwired for stories, and that a story is quite simply a imagined future as the client wants it, and that story is populated by them in their imagined future with us in their imagined future, together with us solving their problems and with us holding their hand towards their goals, with them as the hero, getting what they want, getting what they need, having their problems solved, having their goals realized, getting their return on investment, and the return being far greater than the cost payable to us to get them there. And that story is populated by testimonials, is populated by video, by examples and proof of what we've done for other clients in their situation. So we've actually done exactly elsewhere with other clients exactly what this client needs. So that's why we need loads of testimonials from different kinds of clients so that we can pick out the one, the case study that most fits this client's wants and needs, problems, goals, and we can show them video, written format, and through a verbal story. And then at the end of the story is we ask the question, are you completely satisfied, putting price to one side, that we can get you away, based on what you've seen, away from the problems you've got, and to get you to hit your goals? Are you completely satisfied we can do that? And then last week, we looked at the action step, which is the final part. Sales process is only 3 parts: asking, story selling, and the action step, the completing step. And the most important thing is to make sure you don't end up with a think about it. Sales is not about not taking no for an answer. And I've had people say that to me, you know, don't take no for an answer. No, no's a gift. No's fantastic. No means we can part as friends now, and I don't need to chase you and send you emails and all that kind of nonsense, which I don't want to do. And you don't need to run away and kind of avoid me with your pretend no. Sorry, pretend think about it, which is actually really a no. So it's yes or no. And before we go into the price and the close, we need a contract, an upfront contract, verbal contract there and then, which is right. Okay, so you told me what your problems were and your goals were, and I've shown you how we can solve those. And I've shown you the value, and we've agreed the value you're going to get. And all I need to ask you now is, if the price is right and it's affordable, will you trust me with your order today? If the price is right and affordable, you're happy to proceed and trust me with your order now, yeah? And you get that yes if the price is right, because it is the truth. If it were free, nobody would want to think about it. They'd all take our business. They'd all take our services. The minute we introduce money, it's either affordable or it isn't, and that's simply that. We just want an answer, yes or no. None of this dancing round the maybe, because maybes don't pay anybody. Maybes give nobody value. So we went through that extensively last week, and grateful to Jordan for recording and posting the session. You can revisit that. So I've now been through the first 6 stages. And obviously we've had lots of extra sessions outside and one-to-ones and Skype one-to-ones and Skype group sessions and lots of material in the group. And some of you have done so well and fantastically well in results. Others have grown and achieved some good results. Others haven't posted lots of progress, but I know there's been some growth. And some people have done loads and all the homework tasks. Some haven't. And I'm not judging either way. So it's kind of just trying to sum it all up. Now, Kev's just put, is there an exception to this? There's been a few comments, most of which are a lot of old crap about animal porn and various things. I'm just completely ignoring that. It's like naughty children in a classroom, isn't it? It really is. So God knows where that came from. Obviously, I'm running a really compelling webinar this evening if the chat feed contains comments about animal porn. So the only comments I'm going to entertain so far is not Kev's first one, which is we thought you were cool then, but the second one, any exception to this. So let me take you off mute and Kev can come in and talk about that question. In fact, let me take everybody off mute now if I can. Somebody type in how I do that. Right, you're all unmuted. Everyone's unmuted. So, Kev, talk us through your question, mate.
Yeah, my question was when you were saying about when you're sitting in front of the client and lots of salespeople sit there and the first thing that they do is talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work, in my opinion, very well because it has to be about the client.
Yeah.
Is there a situation where it does work?
It kind of can if the client starts by saying, well, look, would you tell me a little bit about what you do for other people? And, you know, so I'm aware that you've done this, I'm aware that you've done that. So if they're like curious, then we can respond and say, yeah, we've done this for them, and we before they met us, we did this. And so you can get into a bit of that if they ask. And I think that's appropriate if the client leads that way. But I've not seen any evidence. And by the way, I did this as a junior salesman. I've done it, and I've done it. We can get into these habits so easy. I've done it myself. I've done it in public speaking, and I don't anymore. I don't start with my story now, and I've done that unless I feel it's really, really relevant and it's important. I try and get straight into what's important to them. And I just don't see any evidence that starting with a little tale about the sale, me, my company, my background, logically we think that's going to educate them and inspire them and give them confidence, whereas actually all evidence tends to point to the fact that it switches them off because they're just thinking, yeah. What about me? What about me and my future? It's all very well you telling me about you and your past and what you're doing with other clients right now, but what I want to know is what you're going to do for me. So that's my truth. What my answer would be, Kev, is that unless the client leads it and starts with, tell me a little bit about you, then I would go straight into questioning and say, right, let's find out what you want, what you need right now and in the future, and whether we can help with that. Straight into them and their needs. Make sense?
So the default position is you talk about them and what they need.
Yeah, that's my advice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my advice, is to start with that because that's the most... It's the thing they're most interested in. Usually we go the other way around. Ian Escario, you have a question, sir. What's your question, buddy? Ian? I can't hear you, so if you press your little green button, I've allowed everybody off mute now that I've finished talking. Unmute, Ian. I can see you, so can everybody else as well. Oh, he's gone. Right, are there any other questions? Or Ian, just shout up when you're in. Okay, type it in, buddy. Okay, so what have you gained is what I'm interested in. You know, what's actually happened as a result of all of this? Because let's be really pragmatic. It's all very well coming on every week and listening to me and engaging and stuff and having separate sessions, but what's it actually done? What have you seen in your business change for the better as a result of this? What have you felt within yourself change as a result of this? Because that's the most...
I can say a few words if you want.
Yeah, please,
I can throw something at all.
Go for it, Jordan.
So for me, before, I never had a sales process, and I would just kind of rock up to the client and just, you know, do my discovery with them. In terms of like the detachment and stuff like that. I mean, I've done a lot of work in that area anyway, so that I feel very connected to, you know, kind of in those first couple of sessions. But in terms of the actual structure of how to lead a meeting, I didn't know anything about that before. And I think one of the biggest realizations that I actually made was how much I actually ran away from wanting to talk about price. And when it came to that final point, how I would actually rather walk away and then email them something, just because I was squirming and I didn't really want to face that and talk to that.
Yeah.
And talk to them about that. And that was quite a fascinating thing to realize. So for me, the big things were structure, but then also my relationship with how I present price to a prospect.
That's great. That's honest as well. I love that honesty, because I felt that in the past as I've been learning. I've felt that. And today, with a client who's just now booked, and this is a client where I'm training each week in their business for a full day at a time. They booked 12 sessions, 12 more weeks with me each Wednesday. Each second Wednesday. So each fortnight, right the way through, gap in August, right the way through till October. And they asked me, will I move on my daily rate? And I didn't even need to think about it. They said, what would you do about your daily rate? We've booked up 12 sessions. Can you do anything about the daily rate? And I said, no. And I did no hesitation. I just went, no. And shut up. Because they've seen 2 days so far of great value. And I just said no. Because they've already seen the value, yeah? And they want more. And his words to me, now this is an intelligent, switched-on guy. And his words to me were, okay, I respect that you won't move on your price. And I said, and I respect you for asking me, because that's business. But the price is the price, and you're getting far more return than what you're paying me. And we'll make sure of that. And then they booked the 12. You know, so that's not, it's not that I'm great. It's not. I'm not great. It's just that dawned on me some time ago, because I learned through all these things that you've just described, you know, all these feelings. And it's been so well practiced that there's no doubt in my mind that when someone says about the price, I just look them in the eye. It's congruent. It doesn't need to be acted or forced. I got over that some time ago. But yeah, I've been on that journey too, when it's like, I don't want to get to the price. But if you've got that structure now and the confidence, then that's terrific. It means that the program, the latter part of the program, has served you well.
Mm.
Say that last bit again, George.
I just said I agree, and it has. So thank you very much.
And let's build on that now as we go into the second program. I'm going to up the ante a bit in terms of I want to get I want to push with kind of more assertive content, because what you've seen so far is not sort of Paul's sales material exhausted. It's only kind of 7 basic sessions, and I want to really ramp this up and take it to the next level. Okay, now Ian, you asked a question about presentations and webinars. Now Kev Arrow's put loads, and Ian's put, does that relate to all channels? I think you're talking about the asking questions, are you, Ian? Does it relate to presentations and seminars? Focusing on the customer only. I'm not with you. You're gonna have to, are you there? Are you unmuted? Okay, I think what you're asking me, Ian, is when you have webinars and lots of people on at once, can you start by talking about them and their future? Yeah, because there's lots of people with different needs. Now, you know what occurs to me here, everybody, is that what you want more than anything else is if you're going to switch on the laptop for an hour on a Wednesday and look at this better have something to say that's going to help you make more sales. Tap in yes if you agree. Totally. And if you're going to get into the Facebook group and actually spend your time engaging, you want to be engaging with good quality people, with integrity, where there's only goodwill, sharing, a team mentality, and that the leader of the team, i.e. me, is adding value and serving rather than not engaging, is putting value in, is genuinely interested in the welfare of the group. Is that what you want as a team? Is that what, if you're going to engage, come on each Wednesday, is that the kind of thing you're going to want and value? Now everyone's typing in yes. Ian, does that answer your question on how to speak to a group of people about what their needs are and what they want and their future? That's what you do. You already know the needs of a group. If you're running a webinar, you've set the webinar up and you've called it something and you've described it knowing the needs. So we're going to design yours for next week, a week after. So you kind of say, you know, it's like the one I did the other week, freedom from sales fear. You're frightened of rejection. You're frightened of feeling pushy. You wish you didn't have to sell, but you know you've got to sell. You dread asking for giving the price, but you are proud of your product. Boom, 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 boom. And of course, then when everyone comes on, you know those are the needs. So you state them to the audience and you ask them, what would it be worth to solve them? And you get lots of engagement back, and then you've captured them. So that's the way. You need to do some pre-work on understanding the needs to gather a group of people together. Jordan, you've got a question?
Yeah, I just thought one of the things that might be good in the next time round as well is something that I found is if you have spotted someone who you think would be a great client and you would like to try to sell to them, in order to get that kind of one-to-one meeting, what can you say? What could you say to that person without it coming across as really salesy? But at the end of the day, you still want to have that one-to-one sales meeting. So, how do you kind of bridge that gap?
Great. Give us some context. Give us an example of where they would be and where we would be when we want to have that initial conversation.
Okay, so let's suppose that it's just someone online. So I found a lady online who I would quite like to promote her material because I think she's really good at what she does. And ultimately, in me doing that, it's going to cost her money for me to actually do that. So I'm unsure as to how to actually open up the conversation about essentially my products and services.
Great. Okay. Which online stream is it? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Is it she's just got a website? What?
I have just stumbled across her website when I was
Great.
trying to find people in that niche.
Do her posts allow comments?
Yep.
Her blogs. Terrific.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be sincere. So if there's a blog that you connect with or a couple of blogs, don't overdo it. Don't post on every blog. But go to a blog where you most connect with her and where there's good stuff, and just put a few lines of this, and then there'll be a reply pop up. Yeah? She'll reply. And what you do in that is you then leave it a day or two. Now, does she regularly blog?
Yep.
Great. Then you wait for the next blog and you follow. You follow the blog or join her list. Does she have a list? Does she have a sign-up form?
Yep.
Brilliant. Then you wait for you make another comment on the blog a couple of days later. Then you join her list. And then you wait for your first product offering on the list, or the first welcome. Make sense?
Yep.
Are we all right so far? And then you reply and contact her and you say, look, I think your product's great. And I also have some ideas about some synergies that could exist between us. Where about you based? Should we get a coffee sometime? Or have a Skype chat about how I could help you, you could help me?
Okay, cool.
And then you genuinely show an interest in her products and her services, and you say, great, okay, well, I think it's a great product. Whether it can help me personally right now, I don't know, but certainly I think it could promote it. Let me tell you about what I do and whether it could be of any use to you. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and there'll be some connect, and then now enables you to have an authentic, either Skype or face-to-face. Where is she, judging from the context of her blog, do you know where she goes for networking?
No, I don't. But there are other ways. Like I know that she's running an event at the end of the month.
Go to the event.
Go to. So, either way, the principle of what you're saying is build a relationship up slowly over time.
Only a short time. Only over a week or a few days. Couple of comments. Join the list. Get a conversation going. Go for a meeting, meet for a coffee at networking, go to an event. Kev's also put something else in here as well, and I trust Kev's knowledge implicitly, and he's put, write a comment as a sales pitch. Now you could do that. You could say, hey, great material. I'd love to promote you to my audience, to my network. Because let's face it, if I had that on one of my blogs, Paul, great blog, I'd love to promote you to my network. I'd probably be on the phone or on the email and having a chat to them and saying, thank you, that was great, yeah, when are we meeting? When are we having a Skype? So you know what I mean? You just will, won't you?
Mm.
So Kev's right there. And the second thing Kev said is get your gravatar up before you go. Now, I don't know what does that mean, like get your bottle up, get your energy up. Get your gravatar up.
Your gravatar is the little picture that's on the blog.
No.
Right.
It's a bit more than just a picture. There's actually a worthwhile reason for doing that, and it links back to your own material. Did you get that?
Yeah, absolutely. What have you put? Don't do whatever.
Don't do a sales pitch on a comment on a blog.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you said do the sales pitch.
No, I put a question mark as in, is that what you're asking him to do?
No, I thought
don't do that. Do it the way that you said.
Yeah, you put write a comment as a sales pitch. I thought it was a recommendation. No.
No, it's a question.
I've never done it, but if somebody said that to me, they'd get my engagement, that's for sure. But if I then found out they wanted to pitch me something, which has happened on a few occasions, I'd be a little skeptical. Although, I have to say, it has happened where somebody's commented and then said, I'd like to have a chat with you and talk to you about our products. And we've formed, I mean, I haven't bought off them and they haven't bought off me, but we're talking. But I wouldn't make it I'd make it tongue-in-cheek if you were going to do a sales pitch, but I think the better way to do it is to do what I initially suggested. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Make a positive comment, join the list, engage, find out where she goes, networking, whatever, and suggest, say, I'd like to meet and have a chat about how some synergies could exist between us. Yeah?
It's the kind of thing where you want the person to know who you are after a few feedback conversations back and forth, so that if you then get an email on like the third string and you speaking to her, she's like, oh yeah, Jordan, or whatever, and she knows who you are because you've engaged her positively.
Yep. Great feedback, Kay. Great feedback. Okay, Michael, why did you put your hand up? Michael, come on in.
All right, I mean, you got me?
Hello, Michael. Cody, we have got the United Nations tonight. We've got Canada. We've got Australia. We've got Europe. Recommend. You know, we've got it all.
You got Essex.
You got me?
We got Essex. We got Liverpool. We're all right. We're all right. Come on, Michael.
You got me. Yeah, you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, my question was more of a follow-on to, I think I put this in the group and we had a bit of a chat about it as well. But I was putting a comment about if you're dealing with someone, so you've got a one-to-one session or a one-to-group on Skype, and you were talking about the idea of them, you want a yes or a no. But sometimes you get the people who, which is the person I pointed out to, who say, yeah, look, it sounds great, blah, 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 but they still keep pushing the, the one of those people that has to go and think about it. And that happened just before we had the session where you said, look, basically, is it free or is it £1 million or whatever? So I know that for next time. But if you get those people, because I'm sure there's going to be a few of those people out there who just, in whatever crazy way, need to go off and every decision they need to make has to be thought about. And if you know they're not, if you know that this can benefit them and you can serve them, they're going to be an ideal client, but they're just maybe in that kind of space. I know you sort of suggest just to basically go, okay, we'll just leave it. But do you want to offer a bit of feedback on that? I don't know if that's
Yeah.
question.
Absolutely. I totally understand it. So what you can choose to do is, are you talking now that this was one-to-one when you had the chat with her?
Initially it was one-to-one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's one-to-one, then before you give the price, you say, right, okay, let's just recap. So these are the things that you really want, and so the asking bit, and what these are worth to you is X, and this is what I can do, and what I've done for others, and this is how it's all going to pan out, and here's your guarantee that it'll be worth this to you. And the cost I'm asking is less than the worth that you're going to get. But before I give you that, I need to ask you something. If the price is right, are you happy to go ahead? Price is wrong, just give me a no. Price is right, just give me a yes. Are you happy to give me a straight yes or a no?
Okay, so you're saying focus, basically, if the price is going to be an issue, make that the main focus. It's like
everything's price, yeah.
Okay.
Because if it were free, she wouldn't need to think about it. Nobody can convince me of that. If it were free, she wouldn't say, "Oh, I need to go off and give this some thought." She wouldn't.
If it was going to the one-to-group, let's say you had yourself and a few others, and you had one person specifically who was doing that, what's the kind of way to do it that way, do you think?
Okay, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would not get into a kind of going for one person in front of other people. Never. I'm getting this right, aren't I? I'm understanding it. So
yeah.
Right. So I'm not doing a sales pitch to you guys. You can all join the next course, and if people want to talk to me about separate coaching, you can do so. So that's it. You guys ain't getting pitches from me unless we discuss it offline. And there are some people who in the group who are coaching with me, and that's great. But let's say I was to do a pitch to you now, okay? And it was the end of the program, and I was to say, right, how great it's all been, and lots of feedback, and you all loved it, yeah, and you can't live without me, and all this kind of stuff. And then I say, right, look, I've put something together for you, and it's a smaller group. There's 8 of you on tonight, so 8 of you have made it to the end, and I'd like to put on very focused Skype coaching over a month, or whatever, and it's like really near the sessions, and there's one-to-ones, and it's 250 quid. So I tried to do a little upsell from 100 for the start, to 250. Let's say that's what it was. And just on the Skype, on the feed, can those people tap in if they want in, because there's 8 places. I can only get 10 on Skype Premium, so there's 8. Well, there's 9, in fact, plus me. But I really want to have it as 8, so I can split you into 4 groups of 2 for accountability. So there's 8. And I'm not taking more than 8. So the first 8 who are in. So who wants in? And then the ones who want in will say they're in. And they'll say I get 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is. Those that don't, I'll then say, okay, thank you for those that have committed. I look forward to working with you. Those that haven't, would you like to chat a little bit more offline just to go through any concerns you've got? In fact, let me hit you offline on Skype, send you little things. You want to have a chat, you can. Then are you still hearing me?
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, and then what I'd do is offline, I'd go to the ones that said no or didn't commit, and they were like, I don't know, and I'd say, hey, how do you feel about the next step? How do you feel about the next level? Well, it's money. Okay, just be straight. I'd love to have you in the 8, but can you afford 250 quid? Not really, not now. I need to start seeing the sales first. Okay, right. It is 8, and I want to fill 8 quick. So think the world of you, wish you every success, but I'm going to get my other spaces filled and get going with it. Is that okay? You see, that's real, Mike. If there isn't exclusivity, if there isn't limited numbers, if there isn't limited resource, if there isn't a time limit or a deadline that's true, everybody can think about it. And I'm screwed if I'm trying to sell a package with no exclusivity and no deadline. But if it's an 8-person mastermind over a month and everyone's in groups of 2, and it's got to be 8 because the numbers are an intimate group and it's on Skype, and we're going to have some one-to-ones when we meet in London, and I packaged it all up, then ones that are a genuine, think about it, genuine, will just jump in, won't they? If there's desire, they'll say, oh, look, I can't afford to miss out. I'm going to go for it. But the ones who are a no won't give me a think about it. They'll just say, no thanks, but thank you for everything. I'll wish you all the best. You see, people can't give you a think about it if there's a time limit, a deadline, and limited numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically... Yeah, I get you. So basically, it's like giving them okay, well, you can't think about it past this. If you let the time expire, it's going to be a no anyway. Yeah.
So it's kind of working on that, because if I was, and this is not so dissimilar to what you're doing, is it? Like me talking about this hypothetical group situation. You get to know your group, so you can talk to them in this kind of, you can talk totally open and say, yeah, I want to take you to the next level, and this is what I've prepared, and this is how it is, and it's limited to X number of people, and I kind of think I know who wants in, but I want everybody to come in. But if you don't, then I'm going to bring other people in because I need my 8, and we need it all to work with the right dynamics. And maybe we can develop a close around that for you.
Yeah. Yes, in fact, it's actually got me also thinking even too about... because how we have a conversation, and now with my website, which is done, by the way. I think Kevin's given it a like. I'll have to send you the link. But with the artist side of things, I've got an option to get their sign up the offer I'm giving as a free track that I've done. But do you think maybe even putting and then it's kind of like, is it dishonest? But having a limitation in terms of the number of times I'm going to give that track away for free, or do you think maybe just that's not a very it's not like a one-to-one sales thing, but still another encouragement for someone to sign up.
Yeah, let's talk about lies, and let's talk about lies. Okay, so if you're saying sign here, first 100 people to sign up gets the free track. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and it doesn't matter if 150 sign up. Yeah. They still get it, but you just put in first 100. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying to me? Michael?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
That's not a lie. That's not a real lie. They're signing up to your mailing list, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
To the mailing list, yeah.
So you say, click here.
Yeah.
First 100 to click here get my free track, and then they go on your mailing list, they subscribe, and they get the free track. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Even if you accept 500. That's not a, that's like a totally. Kev's put, why does it need to be 100? It can be whatever number you choose. But the thing is, that is a totally acceptable piece of marketing. Now, when we talk about lying, let's be completely honest here. Lying is me saying to you, lying is just promising something that you're absolutely not going to do. Like promising something they're going to receive that is never going to happen. So what you're actually doing, that's lying. So what you're doing is saying the first 500 get this, the first 100 whatever, the first 500 people, but you're actually going to give it to more. So you can sleep at night with that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's the difference between the two. But that's more marketing we're talking. That is. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Does that make some sense? All right.
Yeah. Thanks,
Look, everybody. It's just gone 8. Here's how I'd like to wrap up this evening. Excuse me. I'd like to just thank you all for your time, your engagement throughout the program and tonight. And I'm gonna bring in the new people. There is 5 when I went to Patrick's seminar. Then there's Matty, who Sophie recommended. There's 6. Then there's 2 that came from LinkedIn, who are nice guys. That's 8. And another lady. I think there's 9 fresh into the new group. And there's 8 on this evening, so that's 15, and I dare say there's a few more, so we will not be beyond 25. There's no way we can be anyway, because we're sticking with the same size group for intimacy, and so that we can have breakout sessions, and so that I can get to know everybody. And then I'd like you to think about how we go forward with this platform, whether you like this go-to platform, because I can't get the video out to you, it's only audio recording, or whether we go back to webinars with slides, or whether I've got this Uvu thing. Kev knows all about it, and I don't know, I can only get 12 on, but it uploads it to YouTube afterwards, and I could put the recordings as unlisted, so no one else can see them, but they go on my YouTube channel, and you can go in and see them. But whether Uvu allows 25 people on if I buy the premium, I'm not sure. Say again. Who said that about Uvu? Oh, okay. I think that was just me echoing. Okay, Kirsten has put a question. What is your argument on when to give them the price, at the beginning or the end of the pitch? Typically at the end, if that suits this, the teaching we've been through. However, price conditioning can begin right from the word go, and I'm going to cover price conditioning in more depth on the next few calls. Uvu rocks, Kev's put. It's only limited to 12. I'm going to set up a new Facebook group. I think I'd like to stick with the existing one once I find out who else wants to stay on, and because I can't be bothered setting up a new Facebook group and inviting everyone again, and then I've got another Facebook group on my feed. I think we'll just invite everybody into this one. That's going to be easier, right? Yeah. And there's loads of great material in the Facebook group, so if we kill that off, now let's just leave it as it is and run with it. Right. Okay, let's continue in the group. I'm going to add you. You're going to stay in for the next one. There may be some people who don't stay in for the next group. That's cool. And let's just all continue communicating on all the platforms we do, over Skype, Facebook. If we want any extra sessions, you know, we need to build them in separately. And I'm going to raise the bar this time. So when we do inner and outer game, it's going to be sharper material and extra material. And when I say material, I mean I'm going to build in some more value, and I'm going to take it further. And when we get into the USP, the asking, the story selling, the completion, closing, and payoff, I'm going to actually take it to the next level in terms of more sophisticated technique and so we can really push, because I actually think that once we've been through another 7 weeks, everybody will have nailed the same sort of financial growth that Kev has, who's seen like significant financial growth. Michael, it's fine if you can't make a few Wednesdays, but you'll stay on the group. That's fine. It's cool. Just let me know as you have done. Now, the other thing I want to ask, and I have every right to ask it because it was part of the deal to start with, is I want testimonials, and I'd like some video testimonials. Now, I want them to be authentic. I want them in the group, posted in the group, please. So I don't want, and it's the after videos. So I only want a minute of saying just reality. You don't have to say, oh, he's so amazing, my life's changed, because it's bollocks. What I actually want is just, right, like Jordan said, okay, I've got a bit of a structure now and I'm less afraid of the price. You know, this is how I feel. So it's proper, it's tangible. Can I mention you pulled William? Honestly, I love your sense of humour, but I've got to be teacher, so we've got to keep this serious. I'd throw if I was like one of my old teachers, I'd throw one of those rubber blackboard markers at your head for that, Kev, or whoever that was. Michael. So, look, I'm fed up of asking Kevin Arrow. He keeps telling me how great it is, but he won't give me a sodding testimonial. You know, put your money where your mouth is, man, Mr. Arrow. So what I want is your testimonials. And even if it's just 1 minute, which says, you know, the program has helped me with this a little bit, and I'm really looking forward to the follow-up sessions because I'd like some more. Whatever. I just need to see what you feel you've achieved in terms of process. Okay? Thank you. Enjoy your evening. See you in the group, and we'll have new members coming in. Make them feel welcome. Remember when we all first came in, you know, so make them feel welcome. And remember, your goal, as well as learning, needs to be to get to know each other better. Find out about each other. Meet up. Can you sell to each other? Can you do joint ventures together? This is about commerce. It's about opportunity. It's about helping each other. So everybody, let's get networked and let's get using the group for all the best ways a group can be used. Thank you. I'm exhausted. I've had a long day. I'm sure you're all the same. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you later. Good night, and God bless.